Hey, I wanted to go over how to set up some of these present value and future value problems in Google Sheets. If you've had me here for BU 261, we went through this in quite a bit of detail, but I'll give you a crash course if not, or if you need a crash refresher. So, one thing is you can use Excel for this, and it's 99% the same. I like Google Sheets for a few reasons. One, it's free for everyone. Secondly, it's cloud-based, so if you move to a different computer, you can still access your files. And uh, and because it's cloud-based too, it's easy to share. If you need to share a file with me or a classmate or coworker. So anyway, so you don't have to use Google Sheets, but I think a spreadsheet is, I don't think, I know, it's an absolute critical tool, certainly for finance and for business in general. So let me just go through again, there's many tutorials out there, and there's many details we don't need for this class or certainly for this lesson. But one thing is the way you access Google, as I understand it, is initially is through Gmail. So you sign up for a Gmail account. If you don't want to use that as your email, you don't, but it just is kind of your identifier within the Gmail or Google system. Once you have that, then you can go to drive.google.com, and that's where, amongst other things, you could have pictures. Essentially, you have access to uh, the twins of Microsoft Office. So if you need to do a Word document, that's similar here. This is the spreadsheets, which we'll look at, and then this is similar to PowerPoint. And you're certainly welcome to use those. I have no ties to Google other than I use their software and their browser. So you go to New and open up a Google Sheet. I'll actually send you a couple that I've already worked on, and that'll expedite the process. So if you have any questions on that, certainly let me know. I don't want to leave someone just in the dark about, well, what is all this stuff that maybe other people have gotten to know other ways. So here is a very basic example. So this is a mortgage. You can do all kinds of stuff with um, Google Sheets. So one thing I like to do a lot of times is do a little color coding. I think green, we'll use kind of a green's a good color to denote, well, that's our inputs. So you can think of this as a simple app like you'd have on your phone. You can actually do some of that. But anyway, that's another story. But here's our inputs, our mortgage amount, and again, just the very basics of a spreadsheet. Every piece of information is identified by its column letter and its numeric row. So this is cell A1. 5% annual interest rate and 5 years. So this is a very simple example. For one thing, almost always you're going to pay monthly your payments, and usually mortgages are 15 or 30 years, not 5, but didn't want to have a long spreadsheet here. So the last thing here is something very similar to your quiz, where we need to take these three inputs and find what C is, what the payment was. So I don't may not be able to see that real well there, but basically you take the mortgage, the present value that is, times the interest rate, and then divide it by those terms in the bracket. It's 1 minus 1 plus the interest rate to the power negative of the t, the number of years. Again, I'll share this with you. So that gives us our answer, 23,000. We know if it was 0%, we would have paid 20,000 every year and had it paid off. Uh, the next thing, though, and that's just like our homework. A really helpful thing in a spreadsheet, or you can draw it out too, with takes probably more work, but is to actually get a timeline. So here I've set these up. Again, you can click through this and see, you can probably just type those numbers, but a good thing in a spreadsheet is once there's a pattern, copy it down, especially if we're talking about 360 monthly payments. Don't want to type a formula 360 times. So another key thing here, I know I'm like, oh, there's all these pointers, but here you want to link your inputs to your what's called amortization table, basically a payoff table. So you could have just typed 100,000 there, but this way, mess everything up here. Okay, changed it up there, changed my payment automatically, changed all this down here. Similarly, we could change the interest rate and get our answer. Let's go back to our original $100,000. Then the interest is 5% per year, or 5% of our balance. So we take our balance of the year, B7 times A, and then you'll see there's a dollar sign too. The dollar sign comes when I want to copy this down here. I don't want it to go to A3. I want it to stay at A2. So it has nothing to do with money, that dollar sign in this case. It's simply it's a row lock, I guess. You could also put it on in front of the A, and then if you drag something sideways, it wouldn't shift from A, column A, that is. All right, so that's our interest. Yeah, $1,000 a year, 5%, that's $5,000. Our payment, we're going to use from what we found it to be. We calculate it to be, it's a fixed payment. So that our end balance is our beginning balance. You add the interest, but then subtract off the payment. So at the end of the first year, we're down to $81,903. That becomes our beginning balance for the next year. And then you take 5% of that. Okay, so then you can see it's B8 times A $2 again. All right, and then here I just copy that down as D7, and then this is the same as this. So once you have this, here I've got the whole table. So, but once you have these three, or excuse me, the second year, you can, if this was blank, you could just highlight the row, the numbers that you need, grab the bottom right corner, drag that down. Hopefully I haven't missed anything up here yet. And one good check here at the end, I'll bold it just to make it that much more real. We found the end balance is 0. So this is a good check if, there could be some much like rounding here if I would have called this 23,098 or 23,100. I've been off by, a few bucks at the end. But if you're way off here, then your analysis is somewhere off. So that's a good check. All right, so that is a very simple mortgage example. I'm going to go ahead and I think stop here and then come back and show you some more detailed examples from a past exam.